Hey, this is Ginny's speech.
Hi.
Her two roommates, myself. She's got family here.
Well, yeah,
Her brother,
my parents,
two parents, two friends on Michaela's iPhone.
Kyla's.
Michaela, oh my bad.
And then Kyla, we got here. And then McKenna, my brother Don, brother Steve.
Okay.
We now begin this meeting.
All right.
Okay. Sorry, bear with me one moment. Okay, I'm gonna start, guys.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. In the world today, nobody even bats an eye when they see a picture of a naked person pop up on their social media. Now that most of the world has easy access to the internet, pornography is becoming a social norm for the world. In fact, you may be considered a little bit weird if you don't view it regularly. In the past, pornography was not as big of an issue because, for one, it was very frowned upon, and two, it was way more difficult for people to find. If someone wanted to see an explicit image, they would have to go to the store and buy a magazine. And it would be pretty embarrassing if you were to run into someone, right? But now it's all right at our fingertips, and you can view it whenever and however you want to. Because of this, pornography is affecting people all over the world. But who is it affecting and how? That's what we're going to talk about today. First, I wanted to talk about the viewer and how it affects their brain. According to the article Fight the New Drug, which is an organization that informs people about the effects of pornography, pornography can impact the viewer in many different ways, one being that it can literally change the way that the brain thinks. And yes, it is normal and healthy even for the brain to change. However, the way that pornography affects the brain affects it in a negative way. The term used to describe this change is called supernormal, but don't let that deceive you. It got its name because it refers to an excessive measure of a regular thing that occurs in the brain. This brain stimulus too often makes it so people are no longer as attracted to the real thing, because if something artificially overwhelms the brain or overwhelms one of these stimuli on a consistent basis, their expectations will then change. And that's according to Fight the New Drug. Inherently, these changes in the brain are going to, over time, change the viewer's behavior. Eventually, as viewing pornography becomes a regular activity for the viewer, they begin to depend on it more and more each time. Not just that, but they may even require more obscene pornography to get the same result as they did before, or the same stimulus. Essentially, the viewer becomes desensitized. Next, like I said, pornography also impacts the viewer's behavior, and as we know, there are a lot of different changes that take place in the viewer's brain, and those changes are what then affects the behavior of the person. It can intensify the risk of sexual violence, according to Brosted. The main reason for this is due to the violence often shown in pornography used to excite the viewers more. The violence becomes normalized, and naturally, the viewers would begin to experiment and try the same things out in their own sex life. Next, though it's less common, it can impact the viewer physically. And some people claim that viewing pornography can improve the quality of sex life, but for some people, it can potentially actually physically make having sex impossible for some men. According to Nancy LaChance, there have been some cases in which men developed a condition called erectile dysfunction, also known as ED, which essentially makes it so that either men cannot keep an erection or even get one at all. Porn can cause this when men have become so desensitized to sexual arousal that it results in taking a lot more obscene images to get the same result and keep an erection. However, the physical harm of porn may not be quite so extreme for most people. It may only cause delayed ejaculation for some men, according to LaChance. Next, which is unfortunately the most common, it affects the brain a lot and causes mental issues. And mental illness is becoming a big thing for everyone all around the world. According to the article Mental Effects of Porn, So far, there are over 85 studies that link porn, poor mental health, and emotional health to porn use. These mental health struggles vary in the disorder itself and the severity level. Some people may experience brain fog, anxiety, depression, and even eating disorders in some cases due to the unrealistic, fictitious image that pornography has for both men and for women. Next, it can affect the family, starting with the spouse. According to MS Amilcar, pornography is harmful in a relationship even when watching it together. This can cause issues because it can make a partner, even both partners, have unrealistic expectations for each other on sexual performance and even looks, which could lead to unfaithfulness in a relationship. Viewing pornography can also impact the libido as well as make it harder to be sexually aroused, according to Amilcar. This can cause problems in a relationship because, of course, the partner that is unable to turn the other partner on may start to experience feelings of inadequacy, and the other partner would not experience as much satisfaction and pleasure in a relationship. Next, it can also affect their children. Though it's sad, pornography tends to also harm them because, according to Fight the New Drug, instead of spending quality time with those they love, porn consumers find themselves withdrawing mentally, emotionally, and physically from their real-life relationships by turning to a habit that thrives in isolation. Many people that have a pornography problem or even an addiction tend to feel either shame or guilt about it and just want to keep the problem to themselves. However, this only worsens the problem because pornography thrives in secrecy and isolation. As the viewer isolates themselves, their children suffer from their absence and distant behavior. And you can find more information on that from Can Watching Porn Impact Family Relationships? Pornography addicts often become emotionally distant to the family. The lack of emotional engagement also causes children to think that sharing this critical part of them isn't acceptable. They may start to withdraw or act out as they hold in their reactions, and that's according to Eckerd. Next, I wanted to talk about the biggest of all, which is how pornography is affecting our society in general. Research shows that the porn industry and the sex trafficking industry are connected to each other. Sex trafficking exploits people, including children, without consent. According to the organization Fight the New Drug, when someone is sex trafficked, there are often videos or images taken of them, and these images and videos often tend to pop up on popular sites. As the demand for violent and dehumanizing content grows, the more sex traffickers can profit from that lucrative porn demand, and the more they'll exploit vulnerable people to get there. Therefore, the less demand there is for porn, the less demand there will be for sex trafficking. And that's according to, by the numbers, is the porn industry connected to sex trafficking. Some people say that porn is healthy and others say that it's not. However, the facts are clear. There are far too many downsides and not nearly enough positives. In fact, it could be argued that many, if not all the positives, are not actually legitimate benefits. Pornography is attacking real people, real love, and connection. Take it from the mouth of a woman who was sex trafficked by Girls Do Porn, which is actually a very popular porn site. For privacy reasons, she does not reveal her name, but in her own words, she said, "I think so many times we crave acceptance and validation from other people, and the real issue is, do I want me? I haven't been really able to have a healthy relationship because I didn't feel good enough for anyone. I felt so broken and damaged that I just ignored red flags. I accepted false judgment because I felt broken and unworthy of love." We can see here that pornography is not the answer. It is harmful to all who are involved, especially the viewer's spouse and their family, those being exploited, including children, and just our society in general. It is our responsibility to fight for what is best for our society and families by fighting against the porn and sex trafficking industries. And that's a great start, even just informing other people about the harms of it. So I guess that's my invitation to you all, is to just be aware of that and inform those who maybe don't. And thank you for listening to my speech.